Welcome back to Roll for Mischief, your favorite nerds. Um, and now I'm gonna fumble my way through all of this. Uh, so I am your Dungeon Master Asa. I also play Visik Alrius when I'm not dungeoning and mastering. Let's go around and introduce the rest of our characters, eh?
I
Which
will
is cool.
go. I'm Alex. I play Silene Vermilion. She is a human bard and a teenager and kind of dumb.
I am Matt, and I play Berin, because this is the new campaign, the half-orc fighter, and want to be bodyguard of teenage Silene, who decides 9 times out of 10 that she's just going to run off like a crazy thing. So, yeah, it's difficult. Life is hard.
And I'm Carrie, and I play Tara Braun, the human wizard who is having some anger issues right now.
That's a truth. We'll hear more about that in just a second. So last time on our last part of this game, the party encountered a bridge that wasn't really a bridge, and a room with one of the least efficient traps that we've probably ever seen in our life, that just released ball bearings onto the floor that seemed to do nothing except potentially cause a tripping and or choking hazard. Which both of these traps, Silene expertly circumvented the illusion bridge by falling on her face a bunch of times, and the ball bearing trap by much more graciously spider climbing her way along the wall. So in both rooms, she was able to at least do the thing that needed to be done in order to get the amulets needed to put on the statues in the courtyard to finish this puzzle. The first one, the brick that came out of the bridge room, no big deal. Just walk across this glass bridge that was very obviously inspired by Squid Games, even though it was actually just an illusion. She got to the end, amulet appeared, she got it, illusion went away. She walked across this empty room back to the companions, crawled across the spider thing, or the ball bearing room, and ended up still having to trigger some of the traps in order to reach the amulet there. And that amulet decided to be super tricky and shoot its way out of the wall, and into Artemisia's chest. That one came out like a bullet. And after healing her wound, it seems as though there was more involved than just taking an amulet to the chest. It seemed to have left some kind of lasting mark on her. So Artemisia is not doing so great. But having secured both amulets and the mirror amulet from the session before, they put all these things on the statues in the courtyard. The well, spiraled its way down, giving them a staircase to follow into a vast library, shrouded in darkness. And they sort of blindly made their way in a direction until they came across a room with a large black obelisk and tall metal plates that had engravings of different figures in different positions and different sometimes going to say the word different. I guess they had different purposes, essentially, like different archetypes. Never fucking go. And then you all found that you were being pursued by a white dragonborn with red veins of sort of disease cracking through its skin. And that person pretty much, not so subtly, made comments about Visik being something different than he presented, and it just wanted to come and grab Visik. And everyone else is like, nah, we're gonna fight you instead. That didn't go so well. Borsted was lifted into the air. His neck was broken, while Visik created an escape route involving holding back the Dragonborn with shadowy tentacles, and then also pulling the doorway of the obelisk room, like just pulling that archway down and crushing the stone and kind of creating a barrier between them and their pursuer. But before that happened, everyone was able to get into the obelisk room, and the Dragonborn threw Borstead into the room at the party as well. So we left off with all of us in the obelisk room with the doorway caved in and a dead-ish, probably mostly dead, still dying, Borstead, and an Artemisia who's been steadily growing weaker throughout the entire time that you've been traversing through this room. So a lot, and I'm sure people have feels. So let's go ahead and start talking about them. We can go in the exact same order that we did for introducing characters if we want.
Okay, I guess that means I go first. With Silene. I'm not supposed to be playing a character that is racked by guilt the way my previous character was, but here we are. This is now another person that she thinks might be dying on her watch with Artemisia. Silene, she's been having a bit of a roller coaster, mostly bad one, because not used to dealing with death firsthand, not used to feeling involved in said deaths. And she kind of alternated between being overly cautious and afraid and being absolutely reckless. Like she couldn't decide whether she wanted to save her own life or prevent anyone else from dying. And she just no matter what choice she made, it was probably terrible. So now she's kind of reeling from the repercussions of when she was trying to be helpful in the traps and wondering if that was the right move. And now this fight that they just had with this strange white Dragonborn, where she very recklessly completely forgot that she was supposed to be guarded by Berin and not throwing herself in front of Berin when the Dragonborn went to attack. She was thinking, I know how to fence. I'll just go in there and parry. And then, everyone gets hurt and it's maybe her fault. So she's just, she's experiencing a lot of confusion and is starting to get a little bit angry, partially at herself, but also at some other people as well. So we'll see how that goes.
And in wonderful stark contrast, Berin is almost the exact opposite. He was essentially useless when it came to the weird puzzles. He got himself trapped in a shadow. He was a liability left, right, and center. And it's when you've been alone for a while, trying to fit in and make a group dynamic is really difficult. Even more so when you're kind of an outcast like Berin is at the best of times. So, we're traveling down, everyone's just like, oh, look at all of these fun things. Visik's being weird as heck and just like, oh, I know everything about the obelisk. Which we'll get there when we get there. But eventually this white Dragonborn, he just starts wailing on Visik. Nah, Berin's not having that. He may be weird, but he's part of the group, whatever this dynamic is anyway. So no, you're not going to do that to my party. No. And just the pure rage, I think is the best way to put it. The rage of Silene, essentially his ward at this present moment in time, jumping. I'll save you, much taller and stronger than me, half-orc. Just no. I see you're trying to save me. You die, your mothers get to me. Gone. Then Tara obviously jumps to the aid of Silene. And just, no. In Ooh, sorry, it's touchy. It's poking a nerve here, but no, Berin, that is what I'm here for. I have the shield, I have the sword. You guys get the heck out of there, okay? Just run away. So Berin tries to do some fiddly maneuvers, tries to push people backward, and holy heck, Tara just kind of tore him a new one at that point. Just like, okay, but you're a squishy mage, you should be at the back, like flinging spells at things, not up front and personal. And at that point, it just everything dissolved. And it's that moment, there was that moment of clarity. Berin just, right, okay, everybody, we ain't winning this. Back off. Get into that room. So we all go for it, and it's not because Berin is absolutely and utterly petrified in that moment. No, not at all. But in his defense, it's because he sucks. So we all made it in, and there's just bodies snapping, flying through doorways after us. It's bringing back slight PTSD, shall we say, on this one. It's not good. It's not good at all, but we're safe for the moment. We'll do the usual Matt sum up in one word, but it's going to be 3. Rage at Silene.
So Baron's going into rage, I hear.
Tara, I mean, so honestly, a lot of what's happened has been covered. I'm not going to go over what's really triggered anything for her. But slowly over this whole situation, from the party getting interrupted to now, she's slowly, that demeanor of being very poised and keeping herself together has slipped further and further away. She's had a few moments where she's had little bits of breakdown. In the last session and that scuffle that we just saw, I'm pretty sure it was Berin that saw her snap a little, and she looked at him as if she didn't recognize him for a moment, but then did pull away. She is angry at the situation. This whole thing is not what she signed up for. She is stressed, and she's starting to feel that sort of like claustrophobic, like caged animal feeling. Like, even though the room, well, to be fair, the room they're in now is relatively small, but the room they were in was very big. It's starting to feel more and more like the walls are closing in on her. She's getting very stressed at the people that she's with, at the people who are coming at the people she's with. And then on top of that, seeing now a second person die, or at least their neck got snapped, so I mean, it's close enough for her. She's not in a good way. She's not in a good way.
All right. So the winding of metal gears and the slow rumbling from the floor beneath you is the only sound in the room right now, as the metal plates with the engraving of different figures begins to slowly spin, like just slowly moving. Said in Snake's voice. Oh, metal. Okay, I gotcha. Amelia is like on her knees, just not Amelia, Artemisia, holding her chest. Amelia has run to Borsted, who is, his body is currently laying across Visik, and she is, running to check on her friend that very clearly is in a bad way, and the only other sound in the room is the slight moaning breaths of Borsted. What are you all going to do?
So Tara is immediately just sort of pacing backwards and forwards. One thing I didn't cover in the in the therapy is that she's pretty sure there's something else in this room. Like, she investigated this room, saw like a blood smudge on one of the metal things. Whether it's true or not, she got the feeling that there was something else in there with them. So she's already uncomfortable being in this room. She's on edge. She doesn't see it, like, this is not a breather for her. She's going to be sort of pacing backwards and forwards, and then as Borstat is sort of making these like whining sort of death noises, she is going to walk very purposely towards his body. But I'll let other people react before she does something.
I would say, as Silene kind of catches on to what's going on right now and puts together the fact that Borstat is presumably dying, she is first of all rushing to like to where they are to try and see if there's anything she can do. Obviously, the last time she tried to do something, it did not work so well. But also, she's kind of panicking. So she would run. She would like rush over to their side and just like try to assess if there's anything that she can do to save him. I don't know what would you like me to roll for that, if anything?
You can roll a medicine check to see the state that he's in.
I can, but she's completely panicked. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's not really trained in medicine. That's a 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, initial instinct, someone's hurt, try to heal them, but you've never seen healing magic work on damage to that level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a panicker. She's gonna waste a healing spell probably.
Okay.
I just have to remember what that is. Just a regular
Level 1 healing word or whatever.
It's not a healing word. The other one.
Cure wounds.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Oh, so nice that I rolled high on something that's not going to matter.
Absolutely.
That would be 13.
Yeah, you roll high on something that doesn't matter. You rush over, you place your hands on Borstad's neck. You see that it's bent at a rough angle, and you hold him, pouring your magic into him, but nothing changes.
Also, I did my numbers wrong. It's not 13. It's 11. But anyway, unimportant.
It's the same level of ineffectiveness.
Yep.
Yeah. Nothing changes, and
I think she just kind of like sits back and covers her face with her hands and just says shit over and over and over again, just kind of like hyperventilating a little bit.
Visik by now has pushed himself out from under Barstad and is reaching into his coat. Did Berin want to do something before Tara acted?
Not particularly. If I remembered this correctly, the doorway into the rooms kind of caved in. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Berin would make his way. He would leave Tara and Silene to worry about Borstad. He would go to the rubble and try and make sure there's no way of Mr. White Dragon coming through.
Okay. The door is pretty well collapsed. Yeah, whatever Visik did, it completely destroyed the stone and brought down so much of it. But you can faintly hear the sound of on the other side of the door of rubble being pushed out of the way.
Okay, guys, now's not the time to lament for our dead. He's trying to break through the rubble. Does anyone know of a way out of here?
hold him back.
What?
Come on, guys.
What is
Use your
Tara gonna
eyes.
do? Because I think that this is probably about the time that she would do it.
Tara has ignored that question completely. She's now standing by Selene's side, looking down at Barstad, her hands clenching and unclenching, and in a very like deep, almost breathy, gravelly voice that I can't do, she'll say, "Magic's not gonna work. It's too late. Should just stop him moaning. Just put him out of his misery."
About the time you said this, Visik pulls a knife out of his coat and takes Borsted's head in one hand, and Amelia like lunges toward him and like grabs his wrist and just shouts in Visik's face, "What are you doing? He is still alive."
Can I shove Amelia? Try.
Sure.
Like as a, I don't know. He's doing what I want him to do. So
Strength check. I suppose. Yeah, you're gonna shove. She's gonna try to resist.
it was nearly a 3, but it wasn't. It's athletics then, right? Which is 21 because it rolled onto a 19.
Yes.
3. 21.
Yep. So that's more than she rolled. So you walk up and just push Amelia out of the way, and Visik just takes the knife and stabs Borsted with it.
As that happens, as like you hear the knife and the blood, Tara's fist sort of grip onto the front of Amelia's clothing and just like so tight that she almost rips the fabric and sort of growls into her face, and then lets her go with like another like sort of shove, but not as like hard, and then immediately turns and like walks away.
Visik closes Borsted's eyes and says, "You should not have died for me."
Selene, having completed her hyperventilating, I guess, will actually immediately like look up when she hears Visik's voice and say, "You're right. What have you not been telling us? What are you? Why does that other creature come after you like this? And why do you look the same? And what do you know that you're not telling the rest of us, Visik? There is something very wrong with you. And if you want to be able to live, you need to start talking."
Visik looks up at you expressionless and says, "I am not Visik. That is just the name I inherited."
What are you?
I can't explain that. And then you hear in your head, "In words you would understand."
Oh, no, do not do that. She's like rapidly backing away from him. And if it was possible for her to go completely sheet white under her perfect makeup, she would be. But her makeup is still perfect somehow. She like points kind of a shaking finger at him and says, I need to know more, but don't you. There are limits to these things. You speak so that everyone can hear you.
What matters more is getting out of here. And getting away from that. And he points at the obelisk.
What is it?
I don't know fully, but I know it came from the mists. Things from there aren't good. And then he points at the door and says, and that also came from the mists.
All right, not Visik.
And does Berin over... I'm assuming this is loud enough so that the whole room can hear.
Yes. I mean, Selene's just like yelling.
Absolutely, yeah, everyone can hear what's going on.
I also came from the mists, and let's face it, I could be a hell of a lot worse. We can figure out who Visik is later. He can tell us why we're now being pursued by this terrifying Dragonborn when we're out of danger. But right now, we are still in the midst of danger. He's trying to break through this rubble, and unless we can find a way out of here, I hate to say it, but we're all going to end up like Borstad. Any ideas?
I'll just add, so at this point, Tara is like pacing backwards and forwards at like a very quick speed. She's now like ripped off her sort of blazer jacket thing, and pulled out. She has still pulled the wand out of the pocket she keeps it in, and she's now like stuffed it down the back of her like trousers, you know, kind of like how you would with a gun in a movie. And she just has like chucked the blazer thing to one side, and is sort of tearing her fingers through her hair, pulling it out of that sort of pulled back thing she had going on. And she'll just say very quietly, you all need to go. You need to go. You need to go. Just like over and over again.
Oh, good.
I actually, Silene, just like with this like nervous, angry energy, is going to start pacing around the room, trying to like. She doesn't actually know the results of Tara's investigation, so she's going to attempt to do her own investigations, looking for a way out. So I'm assuming I'm going to roll investigation.
Go ahead and roll investigation.
Here's 4 more stupid rolls. What? Okay, never mind. This time I got a natural 20.
Yes.
Trying to make up for all the stupid rolls. Yeah.
So looking around, the plates have moved. They're not moving very fast, but they've shifted, and there is the one of the Dragonborn. So the images on the plates also move on their own. Like it's like a repeating process. And there is the crouching Dragonborn that's like taking up a fistful of dirt that's like kind of falling through their fingers, and they have like a knife held behind their back. There's the blood smear across that Tara had noticed. And as you're looking, you're kind of seeing the other images that sort of move by. There is a Dragonborn that's like looking up to the sky with their mouth open, and what seems to be like a spirit or something, or like ectoplasm coming out of their mouth. And the ectoplasm coming out of their mouth is smeared in black, like gooish ink. There's a figure in heavy armor with a massive sword and shield, and like the sword is pressed down into the ground, and it's probably like, the sword's almost as big as the person. Very clearly the physique is meant to be of a Dragonborn. The armor looks like the helmet looks like something that would fit on a Dragonborn head rather than like a normal human. And there's another smear of blood across that image, similar to the rogue looking character. And then there is just another image that is a mass of writhing tentacles and eyes and opening maws, that seems to be shifting in and out of a screen of mist, and there's another kind of smear of blackish ink through that. And you also notice that the ground beneath you has been slowly rumbling, and as it has been, segments of it have been kind of slowly shifting apart. As Tara is telling everyone we need to get away from her, Amelia walks over to her to check on how she's doing, like put a hand on her shoulder and ask her if she's doing all right. Visik is still kneeling next to Borstad, and I'm thinking the closest person to them is also Berin. So yeah, that's just setting the scene, and then you've noticed these things. What would you like to do?
I think that she'll just kind of say in like a, once again, slightly more panicked voice, guys, the floor is changing. I think the way we escape from what's out there is by falling into something else. And I think the other stuff she kind of keeps to herself because she's trying to stay relevant.
Tara will just starts repeating now, sort of low and mumbling under her breath, and it's what I guess would be up to you whether you guys actually pay attention to what she's saying. But she starts repeating over and over again, "It's not what's out there."
Amelia.
So there are no. Oh, go on.
Oh, well, yeah. I was gonna say Amelia at this point has got like both her hands on Tara's shoulders, like trying to look in her face, just like, what's going on? What can we do for you?
Don't touch me. You need to go. You need to get them away. Just take them away. I'll stay here. Leave me here. Leave me here. Just go.
She takes a step back and like kind of nodding and looking very frightened. Was there something you wanted to say or do, Alex, before I next step this?
I just wanted to confirm that there were no signs of any like actual hidden doors or anything remotely convenient in the room.
No, nothing remotely convenient.
Yeah.
As you sort of like you give the group this revelation, Tara is clearly struggling. Amelia stepping away from her, you feel a tug on your dress as Artemisia begins to pull herself up next to you and says, "Well, we should probably go then." And as she talks, the floor panels just drop, and you all find yourself falling. Everyone make a dexterity saving throw.
Berin just falls, going, "I wanted to tie everybody with rope."
All I'm thinking is I knew I should have taken by the fall. All right, 20, not natural.
12 for me.
12. Okay.
Oh, and the most graceful thing is a half-orc falling down with a 6.
Good.
Falls. I just dropped a dice. There we go. Okay.
Oh, I was incorrect, actually. I was looking at the wrong thing. I was not looking at my saving throw. It's actually a 17.
All right. Tara, you land in something kind of squishy and gross, but only take 4 falling damage.
Okay.
Silene, you had a 17. You land in a cushy armchair. Only take 4 damage.
Cool.
Berin with his 6. land face first on a stone floor, taking 12 points of bludgeoning damage. The people who fall
You're
with
being
you.
a Silene.
Berin, you hear a thud as Borsted's body lands next to you. And another sound as Visik lands near you, but he seems to have kind of landed on his hands and knees. So you seem to have taken that fall a little more gracefully than you did. Artemisia landed in the chair next to you, Silene. So you're both just plopped into cushy chairs, but with her state of weakness, she seemed to have taken that a little bit worse off than you did. And Tara, you hear the sound of shattering glass and splintering wood and a scream from Amelia when she lands.
Oh.
Also, the three of you, along with the people you fell with, are in very distinctly different rooms. A quick glance shows just the people that you fell with that I described. But I want to know, first things first, what does Tara do?
Tara, I'm imagining her landing sort of on her hands and the balls of her feet, kind of quite cat-like, but still hit the ground. Looks up from under her fringe, her teeth clenched, and she's now starting to moan as well. But she will do a quick scan of the room where Amelia is and what else is in here. You are muted, Issa.
I am muted. Looking around, you're in some kind of alchemist's lab. There's a lot of dusty vials and shelves full of potions and books. There's a table with a diagram of what seems to be a solar system on it. You're very clearly in some form of alchemy lab, and Amelia has landed on one of the tables and in a lot of different chemical contraptions. She's got glass sticking into her, stuff kind of bubbling and boiling at her clothes, and stuff seeping into her skin, and she is in a lot of pain.
Tara groans and sort of hunches over again, as if she's had some sort of stomach cramp, and makes a pained whining sound, and then she's gonna look up again, and this time she's looking for doors or even cupboards that look somewhat well fortified, or maybe a vault door. She's hoping for some sort of miracle hiding place, I think.
There has hiding places you have under desks.
Yeah.
But there is a door, there's a couple doors in these rooms. Quick run over to the nearest one shows that it's locked. And as you run over and check the door, I'm assuming you do. I mean, tell me if you don't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep on creating shots for this one. Amelia starts to growl and howl in a inhuman way.
Her desperately pulls at the door and then just says shit, and then turns and looks to Amelia and then sort of hunches over again and makes a very similar noise, a snarling, pained, just a wail. It feels very involuntary, and she'll just sort of cough out, Amelia, get up, you need to get out of one of the doors, break.
As you look over at Amelia, she is like part of her body is beginning to bulge and like transform and become like entwined with sinew and muscle, and she is taking on a very bestial appearance as her form is just growing and becoming stronger.
Tara sort of her legs buckle underneath her. She ends up down on all fours, and she just starts screaming. Like, she sounds like this. She's in the most pain that anyone has ever been in their life. Her body starts to similarly bulge and grow bigger. Her clothing at first seems like it could be straining enough to tear, and then it almost starts to like absorb into her body, and it's replaced by huge what look like muscle, but like the unskinned muscle. There's no skin there. And her hair grows sort of longer and wilder. Her fingers sort of crack and all of her bones sort of pop as everything elongates and whatever the word is gets bigger. I'm just gonna switch. And she pulls herself up eventually, still in pain, still moaning and howling, and then she sort of takes this stance, and the groaning and the howling is just like cut off completely, and it's replaced by a heavy panting as feral eyes stare across the room at this other creature.
Dang, that's a cool image.
The creature was Amelia dives for you as your transformation finishes. Roll initiative.
So bad. Oh, immediately terrible.
Oh no.
Why are we all cursed?
Did I add anything to initiative? I don't think I have anything to give to initiative. So that'd be a 7.
Okay.
Lovely 7.
So that is Tara at a 7. And I gotta write down the initiative for the monster, which is higher than that, so this will be easy. So with that, we'll take a jaunt on over to Berin, who is face first on the ground. And as you kind of come to and look around, you notice that Visik has hoisted Borsted up and kind of like rested him against something and is going through his pockets and his pouches.
Is essentially what comes out of him as he realizes he's face first, having fallen down, seeing Visik going through Borsted's pockets. Visik, what are you doing? Don't you have a modicum of respect?
He looks at you and raises an eyebrow and holds out a handful of vials that appear to be filled with blood. Something I noticed earlier. Borsted was filling up vials of his blood when he was injured. There must have been a reason for that.
Because he's a good citizen. I don't know. He's dead now, okay? Give the man some rest.
Visik stands up and grabs Borsted's sword, walks over and thrusts it into your arm and says, "He may be dead, but that doesn't mean his life needed to be a waste."
No one has said his life is waste. Okay? We've all been through enough right now. The last thing we need to do is go through people and their belongings. I mean, generally one doesn't go through people, but that's besides the point, okay? We need to figure out a way out of here. Do you know where the others went?
Visik looks around the room and says, I don't see them. It's just us. No.
Fair enough. What's the surroundings look like? Are there any visible signs of progression?
So one of the first noticeable thing is that Visik looks as though he is having an emotional feeling, more so than he probably has this entire time. And as you look around, you see that there are these like large tanks of liquid with creatures in them that appear to be, partially aquatic, partially humanoid. There are things with like masses of tentacles, things that have humanoid bodies but squid-like faces. This room is just, there's like a table with essentially like a mermaid on it with its chest just pinned open, as though someone had recently someone had performed a thing you do after somebody dies.
Autopsy?
That's the one. And you're very clearly in a large laboratory of some sort where abhorrent horrors are being kept. But kept like you would keep dead bugs. None of these things in these tanks seem to be moving.
Okay. Where the hell have we dropped into? Berin's going to walk up to the mermaid that's pinned open and just investigate. Are all of the organs still there? How fresh is this autopsy?
It looks as though most of the organs have been taken out, but the skin is dried and leathery, and the blood is long since, turned black or brown or dried up. And there is, levels of rot and decay. This autopsy seems to have been a while ago.
What the actual heck has been going on here? How about, is any of the tanks that have these weird horrors in, do any of them seem to be alive?
Roll me an investigation check.
Oh yes, we all are here for some Berin failings.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be like, oh, look at this one. It's totally alive. It's totally dead. Investigation. That could be worse. 13.
Okay. Yeah, you walk up to a tank and kind of look at it. It is one of those creatures with the squid-like heads and the tentacles kind of is coming out, and it's rising in the fluid, and it's got webbed fingers. It's completely naked, has no reproductive organs. Seems like it has the build of some kind of humanoid, though it's undergone so much change that you couldn't determine what kind. But it doesn't move. It seems like this creature is dead, or at the very least is in some kind of suspended animation. And Visik comes and stands next to you and looks up at it and says, "That's very off-putting."
Yes, I'm glad we could agree on this. But why? What is this place? Some sort of laboratory?
I can only guess as much. What concerns me is what they're experimenting on. These are things from the mist.
These are the types of things that used to attack us when we were traveling the roads as a clan. But I've never seen them. I've never seen them so vulnerable.
Visik closes his eyes for a moment as though deep in thought and says, yes, your clans traveling through the mists bring with them things that ward away the horrors, keep them at an arm's length. But these are the ones that have come out. And they didn't make it back in.
I just... Visik, do me a favor. Look with me. Has there been some kind of autopsy or experimentation done on these ones in the vials as well?
He looks and just says some. You can kind of look at going down the line and looking at different specimens. You see some have got their chests stitched back up. Some are just writhing masks of flesh with eyes and mouths that seem to have no purpose, and even if they were cut into or autopsied, you wouldn't be able to tell.
I have a bad feeling. But do you remember, Visik, when we were at the bar? Actually, it was before we were at the bar, but the raven-masked lady, she was supposed to be dealing in some sort of genetic experimentations. This looks like a laboratory. I never thought that it could be something as wrong as searching the horrors. We need to find the others. We need to find them fast.
Yes.
Are there any doorways or anything in the room?
So yeah, it's a pretty large room, but you guys can start walking, your feet echoing on the like metal floors, and make your way. And you can see doors leading in different chambers. A lot of them are more like holding cells. Whatever was once inside them has long since decayed. But yeah, you two spend a little while walking through this room, seeing a vast collection of these different horrors that have been experimented on. And I'm going to leave you in the midst of that walking and potentially talking situation to see how Silene and Artemisia are doing, sitting in their nice little cushy chairs.
Oh yes, so genteel.
Mm-hmm.
So they've fallen into chairs. I guess the first thing that Silene does after falling is immediately she springs back up again and starts pacing around the room to see if there's an exit here. Not even necessarily noticing that there's only one other person in the room with her. Yeah, hunting for what everyone's hunting for.
So the room you're in is in a cozy study, not very large, but also, enough room to be comfortable and get what you need. It has 3 soft chairs sitting around a round table with a bouldering tablecloth over it. There's a desk in the corner with a collection of scrolls and some open books on it, and the walls have shelves with a few books, not nearly as vast or as full as the library you walked through earlier, but definitely still there. But every wall of this room is bookshelves, and there doesn't seem to be any door at all in here. Amelia is still. Fuck me. Wow. I've been calling Amelia Artemisia, and now I'm calling it Artemisia Amelia. Artemisia is sitting in the chair. She looked like she tried to push herself up when you got up, and then just sort of like slumped back into it and just says, I just would rather sit and rest for a bit. We can find a way out later.
Silene comes back to the chair and almost sits down, but then looks at Artemisia and says, my God, you're getting worse. I don't. She's kind of a little bit speechless. She does like go over to Artemisia and just like, you know, a janky teenage medicine check again. Not great. Not great. 13.
It's enough to see that at this point, the veins around the wound on her chest have turned black, and with the closeness, with infection and with the fact that the wound was so close to her heart, the chances of that infection spreading to her heart is pretty close. And she seems extremely exhausted. It's taking a lot of her effort to just hold her head up to look at you. Her eyes are baggy. And just in it's probably only been maybe 20 minutes since you guys went from the courtyard down into the library and then on into the obelisk room. She has definitely gone through a lot of just physically drainage. Gosh, word's not good today.
Selene's kind of, should we have lanced this before? I don't know what this is not the kind of training that they have in Bard School. I don't know what to do for you.
Artemisia kind of smiles weakly up at you and says, I don't think there's a lot to be done. Not here. If we were home. But
okay, then you just have to hold on as long as you can, and we'll get you out. And there are a lot of doctors on staff at the Toth household, and we'll get it figured out. And she's it's not exactly coherent. I think she will try to use, once again, I know that this is probably wasted, but she doesn't. So I'm trying to remember, so Bardic Inspiration, that it can be used on saves, right?
Right.
Yeah, I can. She's going to take both of Artemisia's hands and just like hum kind of a sweet little melody under her breath, and then say, I want you to have a better chance of survival, and give her some Bardic Inspiration in case she needs it on like saves against the advance of the damage.
Artemisia just closes her eyes and smiles and says, that was lovely. You've always had such a pretty voice. I've always been so jealous of that.
Don't know what else to offer to this situation. I feel like I have nothing to offer to anyone, and I was so sure that this is the path for me. I was so sure that I could speak to spirits for a reason, and the music was calling to me when I woke up from, the thing that happened. And I thought that this was the answer, and I don't think it's the answer. And it should be you surviving this, not me. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows that you will be a better governor than I ever could. Even my mothers know it, even though they won't say anything. I'm too wrong. But you know it too.
She just kind of listens and then just says, what happened to you last year? You just vanished.
Point of note to the DM, it's actually 4 years.
4 years ago. You vanished. Sorry. I lost my notes on that and came up with what was on the top of my head.
Artemisia, you're going to make it out of here. So, because you have to promise not to tell anyone else. Not a single soul. If you do, I will hunt you down and I will make your life a living hell. Somehow. I'll figure out how. I don't know. I don't know what happened to me. And I keep trying to pretend that I do. But I don't have a single memory of an entire year when I was 15, when the thing happened. I've lost an entire year. I spent a whole other year after that just trying to learn how to walk, how to speak, how to be. I underwent months and months of therapy. I came out of it. Well, I can talk to spirits now, so that's something. But I can't remember anything from that time. And I don't know what happened to me.
She seems to only be half listening, and she says, yeah, you're so different. You, Visik, I couldn't believe the two of you would be in the same room together, let alone the same space.
What are you saying? Are you saying, I mean, I know that obviously the Alrius, the Toss, not friends. He's probably like the worst, all of that. But what do you mean? We could still be cordial, right?
You could never be cordial when it came to Visik. Do you not remember? For as long as I've known you, you've gone out of your way to show that little insufferable pissant how much the Toths wouldn't put up with his better than thou Alaris superiority. You made his life hell every time he came around.
Shit. I forgot that too. Artemisia, I've forgotten. I thought that I just had only a few interactions with him, maybe, or something. I am missing pieces from before. I've been trying to assume that's not right, that's not correct. I've been assuming that everything's fine, and It's going to continue to be fine. I don't remember any of that.
She takes your hand in hers. You can feel that her grip is very weak, and you feel something solid and round placed into your palm. And she says, "Don't worry. He'll help you find the answers." And then you hear a loud slam against the fog wall of the room. And from beyond it, growls of monstrous beings. That being said, we're going to go over to Carrie. So, transformed Artemisia has, fuck words, no, take a shot. Guys, someone's getting drunk today. Because I keep on wrong wording this whole situation.
Yeah, I need to go fetch some whiskey now.
Right? I couldn't even. Yeah, thank you for the shots, everybody, because I actually have that locked on my account for some reason. Okay, so transformed Amelia lunged at you. Claws and teeth bared. She was already a giant imposing person, and now she is a giant imposing person with jagged fangs, and like her fingertips have grown out 2 inches. Her face and skin is just sinew and exposed muscle, and she swings a claw at you. First attack is going to be a 18, and the second with the bite is going to be a 15.
Both will hit.
All right. She scratches you across the chest with the claws, and then digs her fangs into your shoulder. The claw attack is 5 damage, and the bite is 9.
Okay.
What are you gonna do?
I rage. A deep pit growl erupts as this creature, known as the monster, goes into full-blown barbarian level rage. And she is also going to attack recklessly, which means future attacks will have advantage on her. And yeah, she's just gonna dig in and punch, claw back. You are muted, Essa.
Okay, roll me your attack rolls.
That's not good. Okay, well, the first one is not going to hit. It's where's the proficiency? It's proficiency plus strength in it, because I'm having to add this myself. Oh, it's plus 6. Okay. That would be a 10 for the first one. I'm just going to start re-rolling now.
That will miss.
For the second attack.
The AC for this creature is surprisingly low, but it's not that low.
That's a crit fail. Just doing so badly.
It's too bad you don't have momentum build up, because you would just have lost some. So
Flails.
your first attack, just like you're kind of pinned in a way that you can't really get a good grasp, and your second attack, you kind of like lose your footing, and Amelia pushes further forward as she's kind of got you grappled or grabbed on the shoulder, or just grabbed with with her teeth, and you both slam into the wall behind you. Glass vials fall off of shelves and shatter to the ground, hissing and kind of eating through some of the wood as they do. And she just clamps down with her teeth. That's going to be a 14 to hit. Is that?
No, that doesn't hit.
Mm-hmm. So she tries to clamp down with her teeth, but sort of that stumble back has lost her grip on your shoulder. So then she just rears back and slashes at your face for, also, by the way, you gain a momentum for the attack missing, for 17 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay. Boom. That is 7 damage.
So I lose the momentum. Immediately lose that momentum.
No,
Also,
you don't.
Yeah,
lose
if you
momentum if
take
you get hit, do you?
damage higher than something.
Your Constitution modifier.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right.
Also, so rage dropped as well, and I will say, I said in chat, I was supposed to do that with advantage, but I forgot immediately. The,
that's
reckless
okay.
Attack.
Does rage drop if you miss? I thought it only
If
dropped
you
if you
don't hit a creature by the end of your turn. Well,
Isn't
it
there
says
a
if you
bit of
haven't
a-
attacked a hostile creature.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I thought. You've attacked. It's not dropped.
But I also have taken damage.
Mhm.
So
It still hasn't dropped. Yep. Because taking damage is the other aspect of keeping your rage up, if I remember right.
Oh, okay, yeah, I haven't. Right, okay. I see.
No, you still have rage. You're good. And it's your turn, so rage.
Yeah. Just gonna attack recklessly again, and this time I'm gonna actually roll with advantage on it, like I should have done last time.
That's okay, because I will remember too. Also remember, you have 3 attacks.
Yeah, but she had used her bonus to rage.
Oh, yes, you are right.
So that time it is 22.
That'll hit.
And that is
That's a momentum.
D6. So that is 4 plus strength, so that will be 7 points of damage.
Okay.
And then her next attack would be... Oh, I rolled 2 19s.
Nice. That's a hit.
Yeah. And then so that's another... Oh, wait, no, but I get a +2 because, oh my god, there's too many things with barbarians. So add another 2 to that last one. That last damage.
The damage, yep.
Yeah. Oh my god. And then... Wait, so... No, it's 2... What does attack recklessly do? Oh,
Gives you advantage, yeah.
Sorry,
Rage
guys, I've
gives you
never
+2
played
to
Barbarian
damage
before. If you couldn't tell. Okay, so then the damage from that one is a 2 plus 3 plus 2. 7.
7, okay.
And then I get a third attack because she is going to use her bonus this time. To go in
And
again.
in this third attack, you may also deal an additional d6 damage.
Thank you. Keeping track
You're
of
welcome.
my stuff.
You just got to hit first.
Okay, so that is 13 plus 6.
That'll hit.
6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's damage. She just rips into this other creature. 0, like, holding back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just start ripping and tearing away bits of muscle and sinew. What was once Amelia is just screeching with pain. She reaches out to grab you with both claws. Go ahead and roll a opposing grapple check, athletics check.
Okay, so this is a strength check, isn't it? So I get advantage on it because of rage. That is correct. Sorry.
Crit.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean +6 if you want that, but.
So it was a 16 is what she got. So you grapple her in turn. Like she reaches out for you, you grab her, and then she rears back and headbutts you, or tries to headbutt you in the face. That's a crit.
Okay. I'm gonna get rid of.
She reaches back and
that's fine.
Yeah, just smashes you in the face with her own face for fuck. I got an 8 on one of those dice rolls. 13, 15 damage
So half
of face butt. Mm.
What's half 50?
Half of 15 is 7.
Cute.
Yeah, that was a fuck damage. That's what I did with that attack. So yeah, in the case of, I'm gonna take a step over to everyone else real quick because I'm actually gonna Um, so in the case of Berin and Visik, you two are walking down this corridor, and you can hear a faint roar sound. And I'm just going to prompt this for Berin. It sounds very familiar. Brings you back to a moment in your past. For Silene, Artemisia looks to have sort of fallen unconscious. She's not responding to the sounds of crashing and growling and fighting in a room next door. But you are quite aware that it's just a wall away. You know, just because I'm going to take a beat here, if you don't mind, with some liberties, like, as you sort of think back for a minute, you stop walking, and Visik takes a few more steps, turns back, and looks at you and says, are you coming, Berin?
Did you not hear that? That sound?
Yes.
I know that sound. It has haunted my nightmares for years. It's here. The horror is here. I don't know why I'm so surprised, seeing as we're in a lab full of horrors, but it's here. We need to find the source of that noise.
What horror are you talking about? Well, what is your experience?
What is my experience? So, as you know...
Move a little further away from the microphone and don't shout so loud. I think you're deafening a few people. It's fine, do it from there.
As you know, I'm a half-orc, and I'm part of a clan who traveled the mists, peddling our fine wares. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. I fell in love, I got married, I had a daughter, and then the horrors came. They didn't come for absolutely everyone, but they tore my family apart. They destroyed us, and I could do nothing. Nothing to stop them. And just as it was my turn to join them, to be rid of this world and be with my family forever, somehow another horror came to my rescue. And instead of letting me go with my family, I'm stuck here, without those I love, all alone. We need to find this horror. It has I've got a couple of questions for it, and I'll be damned if I let it leave again.
Visik pulls out this strange octagonal? What's 12-sided? Yeah. Pulls out the strange 12-sided object that he had used earlier when holding back the white Dragonborn, and says, all right. And then, when you have your answers, we send it back to where it came from?
It's safe to say somebody will be traversing beyond. I have a feeling it's going to be that one, but I'm not as sharp as I used to be, so anything's possible.
Visik just turns on his heel and starts running in the direction of the sounds that you had heard.
Visik, we're supposed to be doing this. This is my thing. And then just kind of sprints after him. Are you sure it's this way?
You guys hear another roar, and it sounds like followed up by a cry of pain in the direction that you're running. As answer to your question.
Going to assume that's a yes. Berin is... I've never been this focused. And I'm bombing it after Visik to where these sounds are coming from, and without even thinking, my sword is in my hand, my shield is off my back, and it's turning into a full-on charge.
Okay. We are charging forward. There is a door at the end of this laboratory. We are making our way towards it. We can hear the cries and the sounds and the crashing of furniture as we run. Over with Silene, as I had said with Artemisia, she had sort of fallen unconscious, having put her ring in your palm, and then you heard the crash against the wall of the study. What are you doing?
Checking to see that she's still alive, just unconscious.
Yeah, like checking her pulse, checking her breath. Artemisia is alive. She just, passed out.
Okay.
She seemed like she just sort of like slumped forward in the chair that she's in. She doesn't seem to be terribly uncomfortable.
Okay. So taking breaks to continue to check on her and make sure. Silene will, I guess, just spend the next moments pacing around the room, trying to look for any sort of way out, trying to look for any information that might be useful. It's full of books. She might try to look for even just like the remotest, slimmest chance that there might be information about whatever is poisoning Artemisia, or any information about the castle that they're in.
Okay. You're hearing slams and growls and
oh yeah, she's also avoiding that wall
and tearing flesh from the other room, the occasional bang against the wall. Frantically. Yeah.
No, she's shaking.
So roll
she's
me
freaking
investigation check as you just kind of are
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you just going to use an investigation check, or are you going to use any of your bardic abilities to up the roll?
I guess I could do that. Let me check. Guidance is something you can give yourself, right? I always forget.
You can give yourself guidance, yeah.
Might as well give myself guidance.
Am I coming through clearly? Because sometimes my internet just stuttered.
It's breaking up some.
Okay. Yeah, I just noticed that. So is it doing better now?
It's okay. It's getting
there.
Choppy.
Okay.
It's better than it was.
Yeah, I've got all of my family home right now, so everyone's using everything.
Got it. 18.
Okay. And you've used guidance, right?
Yeah, that is with guidance.
So you're looking around, and just everywhere you look, you're just, I don't know what to do here. You grab a book, flip it open. There's very obviously things written in there that are the structure of spells. So yeah, very clearly a spell book. And then I
assume there are no handy dandy spells in there for the removal of curses and or poisons and or.
That's a very good question. I got to pull up the spell book. And while I do that, I'm also going to say, so as you kind of look up from the spell book, you see a green dragonborn sitting with his back rested against the wall, leg crossed, and he's He's got a book in one hand and he's flipping through pages as though he's reading it. And he goes,
All right, guidance.
You know, he taps on a book on the bookshelf. There's something suspicious about this one.
Yeah. She has no good response to this. She's still not used to talking to a spirit that was a person.
Was someone she knew.
That she knew. She'll kind of awkwardly nod and go look at the suspicious book.
Well, you go over and find that the suspicious book is not actually a book, but seems to be made of wood. And as you grab it and pull it, it doesn't actually pull out of the shelf, but it pulls out a little bit and you hear a click and then a whirring of mechanical gears. And as you hear that, there is a loud crash as the wall behind you just bursts open. The wall you've been hearing all the sounds and everything from. So
Silene will scream.
We're gonna backpedal in time just a tad bit to Tara and her fight with this creature. So yeah, it is your turn. Go ahead and give me your attack rolls or whatever you're gonna be doing.
Okay, so still raging, attacking recklessly because she just basically presumes she's always attacking recklessly. 20 not natural.
20 not natural, that's a hit.
Okay, so the first one is... Oh, Christ, what am I doing? 3 plus 2, so 10 for the first
10 damage? Okay.
The second roll is a 17 plus 6.
That's a hit.
And then that's a... it's plus 5 every time. Why am I struggling with this? That's a 9 damage.
Okay, 9 damage.
And then I have momentum by now, right? So on this last one.
You absolutely have momentum by now. Yeah, you've had 2 hits or 2 attacks that have hit. You have 2 momentum. You can deal the extra d6.
Oh, thank God for advantage, because one of those was crit fail again.
Oh yeah.
So then 2d6 on this one, which is 7 plus 12. Sorry, 12 damage.
12 damage. All right. You are just digging in, claws and fangs, and just tearing chunks of this creature out, just going wild. It's very injured at this point, and Amelia begins to just attack in force in return, gnashing and going with her claws and everything. So that's going to be a total of 3 attacks coming your way right now, and one of them is a critical hit.
Are you rolling with advantage?
No, actually I did not roll with advantage, so let me go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so 14 is our first roll. Okay.
15 is my armor.
Then this will hit because 21 is the second, and then the crit one got a crit, can't get any better than that, so that's 24. Yep. Okay. So the 21 and the 24 will do that for the crit. The crit damage from the teeth is 11, and the attack from the claws is 9. So it's a total of 20 damage that you've taken from those attacks.
Okay.
I'm guessing half damage is going to make it a 10. So
yeah.
Yeah, and she's just like trying to like bear down on you at this point, and like you guys are crashing around all over this room. You keep slamming into the same wall. The wood is splintering and buckling under the weight of both of you. It's your turn.
Lays in again.
Okay.
19 to hit.
That'll hit.
10 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Same again. to hit.
Okay, that's a hit.
Oh, finally a 6. 11 damage.
11 damage. Okay.
And then the last one, oh, that might not hit. Only 13 to hit. Damn.
That actually hits.
Oh, okay.
AC is 12.
Then I just keep getting momentum and then using it, don't I? There's not a...
Yeah, you can add that to momentum now. Looks like I'm still glitchy, so I'm going to take a moment to see if I can reduce some of the bandwidth usage. So give me just a minute.
Okay.
I.e., go yell at your kids.
Yes, that is the interpretation.
Don't know how to flavor this out, but she does 7 plus 5 again. No, yeah, 12. Just another 12 points of damage as this creature just rips in, gets her fingers underneath the like bony parts, the bits between the muscle and the bone, and starts like tugging and pulling and ripping this like muscle away from bone, and there's like blood everywhere, and both of their heads
That's
like
visceral.
matted in like flesh and guts and goo and blood, and this is why Ace shouldn't leave.
Oh, thank God Ace is back.
Are we letting Carrie describe the scene?
12 points of graphic damage.
12 points is your last roll?
Yeah.
Well, that definitely kills it. Kills her.
She's gonna tear her throat out with her teeth. Sorry.
That's okay. So Ava takes some liberties too. You're going to like grab your final killing blow, like you've scratched at her, and you grab her by the shoulders and spin her around and slam her into the wall that you guys have been repeatedly hitting. The whole thing buckles under your weight. You lunge forward and grab into her throat with your teeth, tearing it out. And that force pushes both of you through the wall. You both tumble, kind of like turning as you do. Amelia landing on top of Tara in a mess of broken, splintered wood and blood-gorn viscera. And that is what gets Selene's attention as she is investigating this book that she pulls and opens a thing. And over with Visik and Berin, they've been running along, following the sounds of combat, getting closer and closer and closer. They hear a loud crash. They reach the door. They burst through the door. Like, you didn't even check if it was locked, just full on foot to the door, koosh, kick it open, rush into the room. You see the wall collapse. Don't even get a chance to glimpse what fell through it. What are you guys going to do?
Who is you guys? All of us?
Let's start with Silene. What is Selene's first response to these things crashing through the wall?
What does she see? Is it just like a blur? Is it like...
Yeah, you see like a flash of flesh and limbs and like blood and splinters and wall, and you can't really see what's happening. Seems like bodies intertwined, possibly, but
what's she hearing?
By the
Is she
time
hearing anything?
I would say probably like the death throes of Amelia. The loud breaking of everything around you. The books falling to the ground, glass shattering in the other room, wood just cracking under weight.
Okay.
Maybe
so she's got
the door breaking.
Right. She's got the other book in her hand, the one that she first picked up, just kind of like clutched there, completely forgotten, and she just stands there, and her mind is just completely wiped, blank, like just white static in there. She freezes. She forgets what she's doing. She's just standing in the doorway doing just completely blank.
Berin, you burst through the door first. You having caught up with Visik, run past him. Like I said, this is your show. He just, started it moving. What do?
The first thing, getting past Visik, is just sort of shoulder barging him out of the way. Just boof. He needs to get in, and obviously this devastation in front of him. There is no monster. There's not a living monster anyway. And he's just going to roar at the top of his voice. So I'm gonna go back a little bit from the microphone, like "Roar!" And survey the surroundings. Obviously, we kind of pushed in through, and just top of voice, show yourself.
Tara, you are exhausted from this conflict. You feel yourself losing your rage. What happens in the wake of coming to yourself again?
So the monster snarls and is still sort of like breathing and panting, that, as you say, like injured, exhausted from this fight kind of pant. Manages to push the other body off of the top of her, and she'll attempt to scramble to her feet, realizing that there are other people in the room now. And she makes a sort of like, you know, the kind of like growling noise that an animal would try to make when it's clearly too hurt, clearly too like it could never defend itself or the territory, but it still wants to give off that impression of like, you know, don't come near me kind of thing. But she can't quite stay on her feet. She the monster sort of loses its balance, tumbles over onto its side, and then sort of lies there panting as the body starts to shrink again. It's not quite as visceral with it, but you know, you kind of hear bones snapping back into place as they shrink down and reattach where they're supposed to be, as her skin sort of the bulging of all of the exposed muscle starts to close back in. You can see the skin sort of wrap back around it, and then that skin sort of starts to colour, and you see the clothes that she was wearing before sort of like, it's like they unfuse from her body and they go back to being clothes again. And she sort of ends lying with her eyes closed, just on the floor in a bit of a heap next to this other body.
I would say, sorry, I'm looking up some rules here on my phone because I'm trying to use my computer as little as possible. I would say Selene's just out of it. Like, she's dazed to the point of incapacitation, and what she witnessed just now isn't really registering. And it's happening just beyond the wall to where Berin and Visik can't actually see the transformation.
So they haven't come like around the corner.
Yeah, I thought he'd come into the room and shut his off.
Well, I mean, he did. Did you want him to see that transformation? That was the question.
I was fine about it, but I mean,
okay.
Whether Berin wants to have. Matt wants Berin. I don't know. Whatever.
Okay. I mean, in that case, it would. Matt, do you want to have seen the transformation? That's the question.
Oh. Don't think so.
You don't think so?
Not yet.
All right.
No.
Yeah, you barge into the room and declare that the creature show itself, and you hear like kind of strange pained sounds from the other room, and by the time you kind of get over there to look, you see this heaping mass of monstrous humanoid flesh, and Tara laying right next to it, just like laying on the ground covered in gore and looking to be in a state of pain of recent combat.
The
She's
first
scratches and bites and
Berin is just going to, "It was mine!" And just kind of thump his sword straight down into kind of the goop next to Tara. It's like, poof. And then, "Tara, are you all right?" And go down to see her.
Tara is unconscious at this point.
"Tara, are you all right? Answer me. Now's not the time to sleep."
You're just a bit loud, Matt. Sorry.
Sorry. You know what? I'm just gonna turn this down because apparently when I add Coke to my system, I get shouty. That as in the drink.
Yeah, not that Coke.
Not that Coke. The glorious black liquid in this glass, which is not dusted with white liquid inside. That one. I'd like to do an investigation to see, you know, is there anything that I can do for Tara in this state? Or medicine even would make more sense.
Sure, do a medicine check.
16. I'm feeling quite medicine-y today.
I mean, you can do kind of the things that you would normally do. You can look for water to splash on her, or some kind of like salts or whatever to like make her come to. The room you just burst out of was an alchemist's lab, so there might be something in there.
Okay, so I shouldn't use the you know, goop and other things surrounding Tara just to kind of splash it on her face. Wake up, damn it. Visik, we need to find something to get Tara back to us. She seems out of it and damaged in some way. Quickly, go check for water. I will try and find something that smells potent.
Part of me just wants to do a dragon breath weapon right to her face. Wake up! Yeah, Visik runs in, and I'm gonna roll an investigation check for him. Because, you know, I could roll poorly and he could find something that's not good. Has Silene come out of her incapacitation yet?
I don't know. You tell me how long a round is for her. Is it like what? A handful of seconds?
Handful of seconds, yeah. I mean, maybe
so
just...
she's probably slightly less blank now and just kind of standing there shaking a little bit and then trying to like make sense of what she's seeing.
Okay. Yeah. Making some sense of what you're seeing is not very easy at this point. It's just Tara's unconscious. There's a dead creature. There's an unconscious Artemisia. Visik is off making noise in the other room. Not sure what Berin's doing because I was half listening.
Trying to.
Wow. Thanks.
I've got someone else keeping me posted on my connection on the Twitch side because I just closed off as many things as I can. So I was reading those messages to just see where I was at.
It's okay. I won't take it personally. Berin is going to try and find something akin to smelling salts to help rouse Tara from her slumber.
Yeah, all Visik has been able to find is many different potions of different colors. None of them look like water.
Okay, right. That's...
But Visik also, you know, you can't always rely on his investigation. He seems very aloof.
That's true. Okay. Visik, we're going to change tactics here. You stand watch over Tara, make sure that nothing happens. Also, try and have a look to see if you can find Silene. I have a feeling she might be here somewhere, you know. I'm going to see what I can find in that lab. Okay?
Okay. You go investigate the lab. Visik will go walk by Tara, look down, kind of nod, walk over to Silene as she is sort of coming to. And he comes, Visik walks over to you and he puts his hands on your shoulder and he says, "Don't worry. I know why we don't like each other." And he casts calm emotions on you.
I'm trying to decide if she bites it or not.
DC 13 if she does.
Yeah, I think she's going to fight it a little bit because she's just realized that, oh, we're supposed to be even more enemies than I thought. And also she's still mad at him from before. She makes it.
You sense that there is a charm trying to be cast on you as he says these things. How are you going to respond?
Yeah, she's suddenly pissed off, which it does serve to snap her out of it a little bit, I guess. She says, "Don't ever try that again," and shoves him in the chest and like to push past him, still with a book in her hand because she has forgotten to put it down. And she's going to run over to now where she can
I'm probably going to come off Robody, so.
Okay. I assume that she can now that no one's like standing over Tara, that she can now see like the familiar red hair or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll run over there, like muttering angry things under her breath.
Well, Visik says as you push past him, that had the opposite of the intended effect.
What a shock.
Those emotions were not calm.
So she's going to then, like, when she sees that Tara's like lying on the ground, and she's going to kneel beside her, finally put the book down, and then just check and see what she can do.
Okay.
I guess. Do I need to roll something?
No, because there's really nothing else that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
What was Baron's initiative or in word? You were looking for things, check.
Investigation?
That's the
looking
word.
Ferris just getting in fights.
With the bottles.
He's just fighting all of the things.
Pretty much. It's 13 is my searching for thingies check.
Yeah, I'm gonna say at this point, the best you can do is just take one of these potions, wish for the best, and give that the splash. Or you could just wait for her to come out of it naturally.
We're not trying that. We're not trying that. So there is one other thing. If I'm back in the sort of alchemist's lab that I would like to search for, and just on any of the, like, I'm assuming there's desks or tables or things like that, if there's, a conveniently placed alchemist's journal or something like that, which might kind of show or hint at what the experiments were for.
All right. Well, as you look around, you're not seeing a journal, but what you are seeing is kind of attached to one of the walls, one of the corners sort of rolled down, as though as the tack has kind of come loose and the corner rolled down and covered most of the image. As you kind of push the corner up and look at this, it's sort of like the Petruvian Man. That's the right name, right? Where it's like the anatomy of a human,
Yeah.
and it's showing that, and then a bit of the anatomy of some type of monstrosity, specifically the mind flayer looking one, and you can just see scribbles in what language would this be? I don't think that Draconic would make the most sense, only because it's supposed to be secretive. So I'm going to ask if you know Undercommon.
I don't know Undercommon.
Okay. scribbles in a language you don't know on this paper, but it seems like they are certain formulae that I know I said that word, that apply to the transformation of the physicality in this image.
Great. That's even worse than I was hoping for. Berin feels a little bit pleased with himself. I knew there was something fishy about all of these horrors in a laboratory. I knew it. And with that, he's going to make his way back to the room with everybody in it, and hope by this point that, well, actually, when I come back, will Visik have failed at calming emotions, or would this be before that?
You're
muted.
He would have come back after he failed at calming the emotions.
Oh, okay. So what's Silene looking like after this event?
Well, right now she's kind of, I don't know if there's anything visibly wrong for him to see, aside from the fact that she might still be looking a little bit shaken, but she's currently like kneeling over Tara. She did leave Artemisia back in the room that the door is open to, and we'll recall that shortly. But yeah, at the moment she's just gently trying to shake Tara awake.
So as Berin comes in, he's, Silene, thank the monarch, you're alive. Are you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Everything has been fine and will continue to be fine forever. We're all fine here, and so are you.
Number one, you're slightly paler than usual. Number two, that was as about convincing as my boots are clean.
Ugh.
They're fresh on today, whenever today was. Jeez. We all can't have, like, 3 bags worth of stuff. How's Tara
my
doing?
stuff. Sorry.
Why would I bring that up? Oh,
where's my stuff? No, she's focused. I think she's just unconscious. I'm trying to find a way to wake her up. Will you check on Artemisia for me? She also is unconscious, and she's in that. She kind of gestures vaguely toward the book room.
Sounds like a great idea, but you seem to have a death wish about jumping headfirst into danger, which is why I'm here. I have a feeling that Artemisia can look after. I
just want to make sure that she's not doing well. She's fading. I don't want her to keep fading. Can you bring her here instead?
Okay. I will bring her here, but I swear if you try to get yourself into any form of danger in the 30 seconds in which I am gone, I will be displeased. And with that, he's just going to kind of turn and march over to the door leading to Artemisia.
She does actually look a bit guilty. Silene does. Like, she actually looks like she feels a bit bad, and like maybe she's just been told off by a father figure or something.
Can I, in this moment, now that, well, not now that, as I guess Silene probably turns to look back down at Tara, at this moment, Tara takes in a gasp of air and sits almost bolt upright, almost to the point that she collides like headfirst with Silene, like almost headbutts her, but pulls back quick enough, and there's this look of like frantic panic, you know, wide-eyed, like rabbit in the headlights kind of look, and she will pause for just a second and then starts trying to scramble up and out of, like, away from Silene, like trying to scramble back towards the wall, taking in, like, looking over and seeing the body, and
Silene will like kind of try and steady her and like move out of her way if she's really flaily, but like try to be like, hey, it's okay. You're okay. At least I think I hope you're okay.
Where are we?
I don't know where you were, but we're in a corridor now. I think this is where we fell to from the room with the obelisk. You don't. Do you know what happened?
Vaguely. How long was I out?
I don't know. I just got here. I was trapped in a library over there, a smaller one. I maybe Berin knows. Or Visik.
Okay.
Visik knows very few things.
Yeah. I mean, she said that in the tone of voice that assumed that he sucks. So, you know.
Did you what did you see? At this point she's not really looking at Silene. Like there's definitely like embarrassment to this.
I don't know. Silene kind of finally looks down at the other monster body there. That, I think. What was that?
I don't, some kind of, we fell into this room, and there was this creature in there, and Amelia I don't know. I think either Amelia's gone and now we're in here. That's all I've got for you.
Shit. Everything's just shit.
But you just saw her come out of the room.
It was a blur. I don't really know what I saw. She's actually she's completely covered in the fact that she doesn't really remember because she kind of froze for a bit. I think what I saw was her, and I assumed that you were fighting her, or maybe I don't know. I didn't see much.
We should probably go. We shouldn't. We need to get out of here. I need to go home. You need to go home. We should go.
Yes. Yeah. Probably we should go. We should find. Yes. We need to get out of here. Oh my God. Artemisia's dying and everything. Yeah. We need to go. But I'm glad that you're okay. And she kind of smiles and pats Tara's shoulder.
There is a slight flinch as Silene goes to touch her, but she doesn't. She stays in place, but it feels a bit like she's held herself in place rather than.
Should I roll to find out if Silene notices? Or just say that she does?
It's your decision. I don't care either way. If you want to,
I'm going to say that she notices because she's kind of focused. She'll at that she'll kind of stop and hold her hand there and be like, seriously, are you okay though? And put her other hand up just to make sure that she's not wounded or something.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm worried about you and the others and the. I mean, who knows where the Dragonborn from before is? So we should go. And she like starts scrambling herself to her feet.
Okay. Yes. Right. Silene looks down and sees like this book that's like sitting next to her, and it says, "My bags. I need Berin. Do you have my?" And then she remembers she sent him off. Yeah, she doesn't know what a bodyguard's for, but he's been real great about carrying her stuff for her. So, you know, she starts like kind of wandering back that direction with the book in her hand. Yeah, she's got it together. She knows what she's doing.
Berin, you went to go check on Artemisia.
Yeah. So from what Selene's told me, like she's just kind of, a little bit injured on the floor, just, diving out. Why not? So
she's actually kind of slumped in a chair looking unconscious.
Well, what are the chances that there was a chair down here? That's all I have to say. What are the chances? And I suppose a bit callously, Baron's just kind of going to go in and just kind of throw her over his shoulder and just like, right, okay, I need to get back, because if I'm not back in the next couple of seconds, Selene's going to have done something.
You're not wrong. So as she kind of like, I'm assuming that as she kind of like blindly turns around with the book in her hand to be like, Berin, my bags, my stuff, she just runs right into him.
As you run into him, you drop the book, and it lands open, and I would say maybe. Why don't all three of you roll me a perception check and see which one of you gets highest?
Not me. Crit fail.
Not Visik. He rolled a 5.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You know what? I keep forgetting I have this ability. I'm gonna roll another thing to add to it. Because that was kind of a stupid roll. Where is it? Oh yeah, here we go. I can roll a d6 immediately after seeing the number on the d20 and add the number to the skill check. So let's do that. Well, that's still not great. Okay, 14.
And what did Berin get?
And yeah, I have nothing to make this better. A 6.
All right.
Oh, whoops, I was wrong. Once again, I forgot to add an additional thing. It's actually 18.
All I needed to know was who got highest, and it was Silene. You notice as the book falls to the ground, it lands open, and then, as though moved by a gust of wind, the pages turn 3 or 4 pages on their own, and it's open to a spell called Spare the Dying.
Ooh. I think so. Silene will immediately, after running into Berin, she'll immediately drop to the ground to pick up that book and say, kind of just whisper to the air, "Thank you," assuming that it's Matthias who did it. And I don't really know how a spell works. She can't just like learn it right off the bat, right?
Right. In this case, you could use it like a spell scroll. It'll use up
It'll use it up if
page,
she does it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think she would know that. She does have like arcane training, not as extensive as Tara's, but
right.
Well, yeah. She's a little reckless. I think she might, well, first she'll check Artemisia now and see how bad it is.
Worse than it was earlier. Her breathing is slow and unsteady.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Her pulse is faint.
Okay. Then I think Silene will kind of curse under her breath, but she will attempt to cast it from the book in a one-time use sort of way on Artemisia.
Okay. Is Berin still holding her?
Presumably.
Yeah.
Does she need? Does he need to not be?
No, I'm just curious. It's a verbal
draped
and somatic component, so you gotta say a thing and you gotta do like hand gestures. So, you do those things, those that require her to be in any specific state. So, you follow the effects of the spell on the page. As you do, the ink begins to dry up from the page itself as the spell takes effect, and Berin, you start to feel her breathing steady on you. And she just seems to be spared of dying. There's a lack of a better description from my part.
She's still unconscious?
Yes, but I would say, yeah, she's still unconscious.
Okay. 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 This is something. If she can hold on long enough, if she can, and Silene picks up the book and says, I think I'm keeping this. And then she has her own bag. She can put the book in her own bag. She doesn't really need Berin. Actually, I think probably the bag that she was dragging around with her is up on the upper floor in the library where the fight was. So,
and the other bags are all holding the trap at bay up in the courtyard.
My candles. It's fine. It's fine.
We used the candles for the ball bearing trap, didn't we?
Yeah, no, she's gone through all of her bags now. They're all gone. Go on.
Before we leave, Tara is gonna she pauses for a second, then goes back to that like the opening of into the like alchemist's room, and she's gonna do a quick sort of scan of the room, looking for the Drake.
Oh.
Oh yeah, you forgot about Spectre.
I forgot about Spectre. Okay. You look around and you find that huddled in the corner of the room under a table, Spectre is like blending in with the shadows, and kind of like as you approach, it's growling ever so slightly.
Problem is, she didn't bring anything with her. Like I was gonna say, she gets out some food, but she wasn't here for a fight. She's just gonna make like little like, you know, noises that you make to like call a puppy and try and like call it out.
Okay. Make me a handle animal check.
Oh, crit. Sorry, that was a that was a shout. +2, but crit.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, you get down and you kind of like make soothing noises, and it. Spectre takes a few steps forward, its tail between its legs, its head low, it's kind of whimpering, its eyes are, darting side to side, looking around, and then as it gets to you, you like have your hand out in a comforting gesture, and it like rubs its nose underneath your hand.
I'm gonna just like take the small amount of time to kind of get its trust at least enough to be able to like pick it up and try to essentially carry it out and away from its dead monster owner.
Spectre lets you pick it up, and it's not a super big drake. It's big enough to hold in your arms, you know.
Walk back to the group, holding it. Very straight faced. There's like no emotion there, but she is now holding this dog.
Aw.
Dog-like
Well,
creature.
Silene immediately softens and is like, "Oh, of course," and like goes up and reaches out to let the like not like just immediately going for the dog's face, but sort of a let's gently introduce ourselves sort of thing. She wants to. I mean, dog, Drake, whatever. She still wants to pet it.
Yeah. It's a dog. It's a Drake, but it's a dog.
Yeah.
Spectre like
It's a dog.
Sniffs hesitantly at your hand, and then like licks your palm with a forked tongue, and then lets you rub its head.
Okay. What's next?
Find a way out.
While this is going on, Visik has, leaned over and picked up something up off the ground. And I'd say probably Berin would be the one to notice this. Oh, my internet's not being stable. I'm going to give it a second. So Visik bends over to pick something up off the ground, and Baron's probably the one to notice this. He picks up a pan flute that's got like blood stains on it. And he puts it to his lips, gives it a bit of a blow. And as he makes a few notes of music with this pan flute, Spectre's tail starts to wag in Tara's arms.
Huh. Silene may just march right over there and yank it out of his hands.
Visik just kind of like looks at her and says, "You already have your book. Plus, you have lots of other music sounds. Let me have that one."
If it was Amelia's and it's for the dog, then it should go to whoever's taking care of the dog, Drog.
Well, can't we all take care of the dog, dog, please?
No. You do not get to take care of Spectre. I think Selene's heard its name.
Yeah, I think so.
That was introduced. You can barely take care of anything. It's your fault we're in this situation to begin with. And she like turns around and stomps off.
Silene. He's also one of the reasons why we got out alive. Let's just take things into consideration. We can all throw blame around whenever we want once we're out. But there's no point in fueling fires when we all need each other to get out alive.
Fine. I don't want anyone else to die, including Visik, if that's even his name. And fine, let's just figure this out. She looks at Artemisia, still kind of slumped over Berin, and says, I don't know if it's better to just let her stay like that or to try and wake her up.
I mean, before we broach that subject, I suppose, does anybody know what happened to her?
Whatever it was that the trap room that I was in, the one with the ball bearings, it shot out the amulet. It hit her. There was something wrong with it. Poison, curse, I don't know. But it can't be healed. and I just want her to stay alive long enough that we can, someone, a doctor, somebody can fix it.
Fair enough. Now, Tara, what big mush blob here? Care to explain?
Well, Amelia and I landed in the alchemist room. It's kind of hard to tell what was going on first, falling. And then this creature must have been in the room already. Amelia fell closest to it. It, I don't know, ate her or something. And then it came at me, and the rest of it is just kind of a blur.
Fair enough. That horror was mine. But, hey. I don't know how you did it, but it's dead. So, let's try and figure a way out of here.
Okay. That's not Silene, that was Alex making a weird noise. Yeah, Celine's already kind of marching off down the hall to look for any entrances,
Through the secret
exits,
door she opened.
door things. Oh, well, I mean, the one that she opened just was a tiny library, so / study, wasn't it?
Well, she was in the study the whole time. That's where she was
right, and then she opened the
study.
door into the hallway, right?
No, we crashed through into the library.
No.
And then
Yeah, yeah. No, that's okay. Yeah, the alchemist room is in the opposite wall of the door you opened, the secret door you opened. No.
Right.
It's all good. Like I noticed there was a bit of description that didn't line up with what I had set up, but I was like, I'm not going to bother with it. It's fine. You know?
Okay.
It's okay for things to get a little bit muddled. But no,
Right.
specifically the door you had opened, the secret door you had opened
was into the hallway, and we were all in the library together, not in the hallway.
Right. It's led to a place that you guys haven't explored yet.
Okay. Well, whoops. Cool. Then that's where Silene is going.
Okay. So Visik will tentatively follow and kind of mutter to himself, I don't think things are going well with Silene. And what are the other two of you doing?
Tara will say to Berin, do you really think she should be walking off there in front on her own? Aren't you meant to be her protection?
One would assume so, yes. I am nothing more than a glorified bag and person holder at this point. She does whatever she wants to. I'm not here to babysit, and that's what it is. She will do whatever she wants to, and regardless of what I tell her, she's going to go off and do the exact opposite and start fueling fires instead of working as a team.
Does seem that way.
She's not like us. She doesn't have that military or combat background. She's a free bard. Bards are free anyway, but then you add free in front of it, and then you're just like, why?
Yeah, but sometimes that's the real reason to keep an eye on them. Unpredictable, and look, we've seen enough people die today.
Are you going to say more? Sorry, I didn't want to take away from that.
That was what Berin was doing. His entire face was just like contorted, just like I'm being berated by children. And I think he is actually going to grumpily kind of just stomp a little bit further ahead, trying to catch up with Silene.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it.
Presumably still carrying Artemisia?
Presumably, yeah. Hopefully Silene doesn't do anything too outrageous, because I'm going to be more than useless.
So is Tara kind of left at the back with Visik? No.
I guess so, yeah. It seems like Baron's marched off. Visik is, could kind of be wherever you want him to be. I'm not too worried about that.
So they haven't really had like a lot of interaction. But
not
I think I think so Silene took the like pipes away from him. Yep. And Tara's just gonna quite casually, like, in fact, like through all of this, her tone has gone back to being very like monotone, leveled, but there is like a level of sounding exhausted underneath it. But she'll sort of say to Visik as they kind of start to walk out of the room after the other two, and say, "Did anyone teach you to whistle?"
Hard to whistle when your lips are very, very wide.
I'm just gonna... Tara is gonna make a whistling noise, like, using her tongue, rather than, I can't do it, but I presume it's probably possible. Like, maybe against her teeth or whatever.
Okay.
Just as, like, to try and show him, like, there's other ways to do it, you just need to practice, kind of thing.
Alright. You whistle. You're still holding Spectre, right?
Yeah.
You whistle, and Spectre's tail like wags a little bit, not the same way as it did with the pan flute, but it does wag like unsure. And Visik kind of like cocks his head to the side of you, or yeah, cocks his head to the side, looking at you, and then he, you see like he presses his tongue to his teeth and kind of like blows air. It doesn't quite make a whistling sound. It's more of just like an air sound, but then he like starts practicing it more, and and then he starts to follow Berin, and all the while attempting to make this whistle sound through his teeth. But he seems fairly content.
Tara just kind of like nods to herself, sighing, and takes up the rear, holding onto the dog still.
Okay. So looks like the way we're going, we're probably going to wrap up a little bit early, which is unheard of for us these last few parts. But as you all move through the secret entrance out of the study, you make your way into a room that is large, stone, old, quite a bit different than the rest of the house has been so far. The stone floor is a little uneven. Your footsteps echo through the room as though you've stepped into a massive cathedral. There are pillars along the sides of the wall. You can't even see the far wall or the side walls, but you can see what looks like rows of people standing like beyond the pillars. And if you step any closer to get a look at them, what you see are piecemealed mechanical people, like someone has attempted to forge some kind of humanoid creature. They're not moving. They're pretty much statuesque, but they're dotted along this room. There are probably a total of about 30. And as you get to the far end of the room, you realize this is some form of chapel, and inside is, or at the far end is an altar, and resting on the altar is a bag.
Silene just like, my stuff.
It's not Selene's bag, is it?
It is not Selene's bag. It looks to be an empty burlap sack.
Oh, well.
Because Tara
that's
reckons
exciting.
Oh, actually, they all.
It's the Chapel of Visik.
It doesn't have holes cut in the sides, though.
Who's the first person to grab it?
I guess it's Silene if she's already going across the thing.
Can Berin interject with no?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. He can interject. She'll be like, "Oh right," and then maybe do a little investigation, looking for some traps.
All right. Roll me an investigation check.
Yeah, I'm gonna. No, I'm not gonna use it. Maybe I should. No, it's fine. That's gonna be a 16.
All right. You look around and you can tell one thing. The stone altar this bag is sitting on is Indiana Jones style, meant to move if things are placed on it. But there is no sign of any danger or any real trap involved. I had an internet glitch, so I don't know if anybody made a decision.
No, didn't.
No decisions. No danger. She's in a weird place right now. She might just go ahead and reach for the bag.
Does
sort of a go on.
Does Silene kind of tell the wider party about this potential, trap idea?
Oh yeah,
no
if Berin says, right, since Berin said Silene no or whatever, she'll just be like, no, I think it's fine.
Why don't I trust you?
Because I'm a dumbass 19-year-old. No, she's picking it up. Sorry.
Okay, right. Yep. No.
Would Berin like to intervene?
Well, Berin would much prefer to have to kind of. I don't know if he knows Silene well enough to tell that she's just like, looks fine. I don't have a clue what I'm doing. But I'm good.
I'll point out that prior to this, on at least 3 or 4 occasions, she's actually looked for and found traps, and while they've been going through these things, and been cautious to other people with that.
True, so true. Nah. Berin, you're such a trusting fool. Yeah, no, on you go, dear. You have fun. The adults will stay in the back.
Okay. Silene grabs the bag. There are no eye holes cut into it, but it feels heavier than an empty bag. And as you lift it, the stone altar that it's on raises, and as it does, the wall past you begins to kind of slide open, and as the grinding sound of stone on stone is lowering, you can see a set of double stairs that lead up from the place just past this altar into a world above you that you can't see into because it's too dark. But in short, in picking up that bag and relieving the weight from the trigger, you have found a secret staircase. And next
Well,
week
that's
we'll find out
great.
what's up
I'm
there.
sure it's good, right? It's good.